Hi everyone, so today we will learn how to accept payments using Stripe hosted checkout page. In my previous video, I have discussed 4 different ways you can use Stripe checkout, and Stripe hosted checkout were one of them. It is very simple and one of the most popular option for you. So today we're going to use just this. I've also explained how all of this works in the previous video. Here just to recap how Stripe hosted checkout page works. So here you have your server, in this case the Next.js server, and then you send all the necessary product details like name, currency, price, etc. to Stripe. Then Stripe server will create a checkout session for that specific order, and this checkout session, which is an object, will be sent to your server, the Next.js server, and that session will actually hold a link, and that link will be a checkout page link hosted by Stripe. You just need to redirect the user to that link, and when the user visit that link, they will see a checkout page like this pre-built by Stripe. It is very easy to implement, so let's get started. So if you don't know how to set up Stripe properly with Next.js, I have the exact video for it. You can check the link on the description, or you can just grab this repository and use the starter branch to follow along with me. So let me just give you a brief tour what this starter code repository have. But before that, I will just run the dev server with npm run dev and just go to localhost 3000. So this is what I have, just a simple card with all the products listed with their price and a checkout button. So in the code, if I just go to the page.jsx file, you see there is this product list component and this checkout button. If I go to the product list component, we are just simply rendering out the products, and here we are also expecting our children so that we can render any other component inside the list component. In this case, we are just rendering the checkout button. And just a quick note, I'm not gonna use any kind of database at all. I'm just using this product.js file. This is just an array which has the name, price, quantity, image, and lorem ipsum description. Now, the price is actually in subcurrency or in sen. A subcurrency is just the lowest amount of a currency. For example, in US dollar, you have cents. So $1 equals to 100 cents. Then €1 is equals to 100 cents. Then 1 Bangladeshi taka is equals to 100 paisa. So paisa here is the subcurrency of the currency taka. So this type of currencies are called decimal currencies. Then you also have non-decimal currencies. For example, Japanese yen. 1 Japanese yen is basically just 1 Japanese yen. It doesn't have the idea of subcurrencies or cent. That is crucial. I will show you why. So we have a list of products. We have the UI ready. What we need to do is we need to send the product data to Stripe, and we're going to use server actions for that. So I have a actions directory inside the source directory, and I have a file called create checkout session.js. I have added the use server directive, which makes all the function inside this file a server action. And a server action is basically a function that runs on the server instead of client, the browser. So I have this create checkout session function. This is the server action, which is expecting an object where we have this UI mode property. By default, the value will be hosted. And I have added this JS doc comment for having some types inside the function. So let's create our checkout session. So inside the function, we need to use the Stripe instance. So Stripe dot checkout dot session dot create. And this Stripe is actually the instance which is living inside this lib folder. We are using this Stripe constructor to create a new instance using this secret key. And inside this create function, we need to pass an object, but I'm going to use a separate variable for that. So I'm just going to call it session params. Just create the variable. I will also add JS doc comments for having types so that we get intelligence in our editor. Now I get types for the session params variable. So inside the object, just pass payment method types, and you can use an array. There are many options like Affirm, Afterpay, Alipay, Alma, Amazon Pay, etc. We're just gonna use card. Then we're gonna pass mode to payment. You have setup subscription. Since we are not doing anything with subscription, we're just gonna use payment. Then currency, it will be USD just for simplicity. And it has to be a supported currency. You can just check the supported currencies by going to this link. Then we're going to pass UI mode, which will be equals to UI mode from the parameter. The UI mode is defaults to hosted, but it can accept three values: custom, embedded, and hosted. Hosted means that we're gonna use the hosted checkout page built by Stripe. Embedded means we can use that same hosted page but within our website, embedded using an iframe. And custom is basically for using checkout session but with web elements. I'm going to show you the embedded version in this video later. So I'm just going to use the variable. We will also need to pass line items. I will just pass an empty array for now. I will come back this in a minute. We need to pass some URL to the session params based on if the UI mode is hosted or embedded or custom. If the UI mode is hosted, then we're going to pass success URL and cancel URL. This URL is used when the checkout is successful. Stripe will redirect the user to this URL. If the user cancels the checkout, there is a back button I will show you. If they click on that button, they will visit this cancel URL link. Otherwise, we are expecting the UI mode will be embedded or hosted. In that case, you don't need success or cancel URL. You need a return URL. So I'm just going to copy this. And instead of success URL, I'm going to use a return URL. Now let's get back to line items. Line items are basically a list of product details that you're going to send to Stripe. So we're just going to loop over the products array. So inside the object, we need to have a price data object. And here you can also specify the currency. So in this case, USD. Then for actual product data, you need to pass product data object. And there you can pass the product name, then the description, and an array of image links. And then inside the price data, you need to also pass the unit amount. So just pass a unit amount and it will be product dot price. And the unit amount has to be in sub currency like in cents. Then you also have a unit amount decimal. It is basically smaller values of the sub currencies. So it accepts basically string. So if the product price is $1.23, you're gonna pass 1023.00. But let's say you are charging $1.23.45, then just gonna pass 45. So in simply, unit amount decimal is the smaller version of the subcurrencies. So we are not gonna use that. Then after the price data, you're gonna pass quantity. So our session params is done. Now we can just await this function. And let's get the sessions object. And this session object, actually, I'm just gonna console log for you. The session object will have a URL. If it does contain URL, we're gonna just redirect the user using the redirect function. So that should be it for our server action. Now we need to trigger this server action from our button, this checkout button. So let's just go to the checkout button function, sorry, component. I'm gonna run the function await create checkout session. I can pass UI mode here, but since it has a default value of hosted, I don't need to pass anything else. So let's click on this checkout button. And we are now redirected to our checkout page. So I will zoom in a bit. So on the top, you can see there is this Stripe Nextjs, which is our app name. And we have this back button, which will redirect us back to cancel URL. These are the product. You can see there are two currencies, Bangladeshi Taka and US dollars. Bangladeshi Taka because I'm in Bangladesh. Now we can do the payment. So Stripe has this test key 424242 and any future date and any CVC code. And you can change the countries if you want. And now let's just pay. And now we are redirected to the success page, even though the page isn't created, but it's working. And in the checkout session, this is the URL, and here is the summary of our checkout session. Now, there are a lot of other things that you can pass to the checkout session. You can check them by going to the documentation. Just go to docs.stripe.com/API, then go to the checkout section, then checkout sessions, and then you'll see all the things that you have on the checkout session object, how to create a checkout session, how to update them. One thing I want to mention here is customer. So whenever you pay in Stripe, Stripe actually create a new customer for you. So if you just go to the dashboard, you can see all the transactions from there. And if you go one of this and you see more details, and if you scroll down, on the side, you see that we have customer details like the email, name, and it has also created a ID. So it has created a new customer. But this customer that is automatically created is the guest customer. It is not really like a real customer account. And you can have a multiple guest customer using same email. But you can tell Stripe to create a new customer. So for that, you need to go to the session params and then customer creation to if required or always. So you can pass always. So let's try it again. So I will go to checkout. And this time I'm going to use a different ID. Sorry, different email. Let's pay. And I'll go to the dashboard. Just refresh the page. So now we have another transaction with abc@gmail.com email. And this time we don't have a guest customer. But what if I use the same email ID again in another checkout? Let's try that. Let's go to home page, then checkout. I'll use the same email. Let's go to dashboard, transactions. And now we have another transaction, and it has created a new customer using the same email ID. This customer ID and the previous customer ID was totally different. So many customer account can have exact same email. It is totally fine in Stripe. But if you already have a customer ID stored, you can also pass that in the customer property. This will be the ID of the customer, not the user ID. Let me show you again. So this customer ID can be passed over here. Or if you have the user email, you can just pass the customer email. So I'm going to pass my email, and let's do another checkout. Now this input is basically disabled. You cannot change it, but I can still pay. And if I go to the dashboard transactions, now we have another transaction. But this time Stripe didn't create a guest customer account. So that's pretty much it about how to use Stripe Checkout in your Next.js app. Now let me just show you how to use embedded checkout. So I have an embedded directory, and it also has a page.js file. I made this component a client component using the use client directive. So let's add the necessary code. I will add a div. I'll use a h1 embedded checkout. And here we need to use a component embedded checkout provider. This is actually coming from React Stripe. Here you need to pass the Stripe promise. The Stripe promise is actually coming from this file, Stripe client.js. It is using the load Stripe function and the publishable key. And they need to pass options. It will accept a function. The function should return a promise. So I'm just going to call create checkout session. This time inside the object parameter, we're going to pass UI mode to embedded. And then inside the embedded checkout provider, it will not be a self-closing tag, sorry. We're going to call the embedded checkout component. This will be a self-close component. Let's close the checkout provider. Now we need to adjust the create checkout session function. So we will add a little bit of logic. If the UI mode is not hosted, then we're not going to do any redirection. We're just going to return the client secret. So the session update will also have a client secret. This is required for both embedded and custom option. So let's see if it works or not. So I will go to localhost/embedded. And as you can see, we have the almost exact same checkout page, but within our website. You can see we have this little warning. Automatic payment methods filling is disabled because this form does not use a secure connection because we are using localhost HTTP, not HTTPS. So we can just fill it manually by passing 42442 and then any date in the future and then any CBC code. I'm just going to pass my name, then pay. And we are now redirected to success page, and I can also show you the transactions, and a new transaction has been added. So this is how you can use Stripe hosted checkout using Next.js. In the next video, I will show you how to use coupons in Stripe checkout. So if the video has been helpful for you or you have learned something new, please like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot. If you have any questions or feedback, just put them in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.